Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture series of financial modeling. In the previous lecture, we have learned about end of the month and e-date. Now just to revise, end of the month means whenever we have to write any date which will be the last day of any particular month. And e-date means we apply e-date whenever we have to calculate 4 months ahead or 5 months ahead or 6 months ahead of any particular date, or even while using the e-date we can calculate the date which are 4 months back, or you can say previous to the given date, or 5 months previous to the given date. In the previous lecture, I have told you how to use e-date whenever we have to calculate the date 4 or 5 months ahead. Now in this lecture, I'll teach you how to calculate the date whenever we have to calculate the date in the previous months or 4 months back, the stipulated date which is given to you. Now suppose these dates are given to you. Let's say the date is 13th of February 2024 and I want to calculate the exact date which will be 4 months before this stipulated date. So we are going to use the help of the e-date. So I'll write e-date and then you have to select the date by which you have to calculate. Now I want 4 months previous to this date. So I'll write -4 and then bracket close and enter. Now you can observe this date is 13th of February 2024, and if we see 4 months back from this date will be 13th of October 2023. Now what we have to do, we have to drag this and you will observe that next date is 24th of March and the 4 months previous to this date is 24th of November and so on. So while using the e-date, you can calculate the months ahead of the given date or the months which are previous to the given date. Now suppose I want to calculate the 4 months previous date and that to end of that particular month. Suppose this is my date which is 4 months previous to 13th of February. Now I want to calculate the last day of the month which is 4 months previous to February. That means my date is 13th of February 2024 and I want to calculate the October last date which is 4 months back from this date. So in this way, I am going to club two commands. One is for e-date and second command will be for end of the month. So now what we are going to do, we are going to write e-date, then you will write end of the month, and after that you will select the date because I want 4 months previous to this month plus I have to calculate end of the month of that particular month for which I am calculating the previous month. So what I am going to do, I am going to write -4. This command will give me the exact date which will be 4 months previous to 13th of February. Now I'll write 0. 0 means I want the current month end of the month date. Current month at that time will be my October and 0 means I want last day of the October, and then press enter. Now you can see that I got the date which is the last day of the month of October, and October month is 4 months previous to February. Now you have to drag it down and you will get the last day of all the months which are 4 months previous to these dates. So in this way we can either calculate the dates which are 4 months ahead or 4 months previous, or you can say 5 months, 6 months, whatever date you want, you can do it. Now the second concept that we are going to learn today is end of the year. So as we have the command for end of the month, we are using the command EO month, but we don't have any command like that which is EO year. So in that case, we will be taking the help of the date command. So now suppose my date is 23rd of September 2024 and I want the date exactly on the last day of the year of 2024. Now, over here we have to see whenever we are calculating the end of the year date, we have two types of year. One is your calendar year and one is your financial year. If we are talking about calendar year starts from January and it ends at December. But if we are talking about our financial year starts from your April and its end in the month of March. So whenever you are calculating the end of the year date, you should be clear in your minds that which kind of year you are calculating. Either you are taking the calendar year or you are taking the financial year. Now the question arises why we are using the end of the year date. Why there is a need for calculating the end of the year date in financial modeling. Now let's say I say that you have taken a loan. Now you have fixed the EMI which is the last day of the year. And last day of the year can be December and it can be March. So in that case, you will be calculating the last day of the year, and with respect to last day of the year, you will be calculating the interest. Suppose over here, if I want to pay the interest on 31st of December 2024, so I have to calculate the exact period for which I have to pay the interest. For that, I will be calculating the time period from 23rd of September till your 31st of December. Or if I want to pay my first EMI, or if I have to pay the interest for the whole year on 31st of March, then I'll be calculating the total time period for which I have to pay the interest starting from 23rd of September 2024 and ending at 31st of March 2025. Or suppose I want to pay the loan on 31st of December 2025. Then my time period will be from 23rd of September 2024 till 31st of December 2025. Or let's say, let me take another example. Let's say I'm calculating the NPV, that means net present value, or I'm calculating the internal rate of return, and which you are aware, which is always calculated at the end of any particular year, whatever year you are taking. I'm going to calculate NPV and IRR in that particular year. I'll be calculating what amount of cash inflows are there, what amount of cash outflows are there at the end of the year. So in that case also, I'll be utilizing the last day of the year. Or let's say I want to give the bonus to the employees, and my condition is if any employee has completed the 2 years time period in my company, then only that person is eligible for the bonus. So I'll be calculating the difference between when that person has joined or when that employee has joined my organization, and when should I have to give the bonus to him, or you can say when he is eligible for taking the bonus. So at that time, I'll be calculating the time period between the joining date and the date of bonus. Let's say I want to give the bonus on 31st of March 2025 and I have 50 employees in my list. So I'll be calculating the time period for which the employee has worked in my organization starting from the date of joining and till the date of bonus. So if the time period is more than 2 years, I'm going to pay bonus, and if the time period is not more than 2 years, I'm not going to pay the bonus. So end of the year date is utilized in many concepts when we are going to learn the financial modeling. So now over here, I want to calculate end of the year from 23rd of September 2024, and right now I am taking the calendar year. And calendar year means my year will end in December. And you are aware that December is a 12th month. So let's see how we are going to calculate it. So equals to, and then you are going to write your date. Once the date is written, you will write year. Now, while writing the year, I'll calculate the year for which I have to calculate the end of the date. So I am taking my date 23rd of September 2024 as a year for which I have to calculate the end of the date. So close it. Now, how the Excel will know that I want the current year end of the date or next year or next to next year. So for the current year, as I told you, I'll write 0. After that, you will write comma, and now you will write whether you want a calendar year or you want the financial year. As I told you, I want the last day of the calendar year, and calendar year is December, and December is a 12th month, so I'll write 12th. And December has 31 days. So I'll write 31, close the bracket and enter. Now you can see over here, it's 31st December 2024, which is the last day of the year of 2024. Now what I am going to do, I am going to copy it. You have to press the shift sign, arrow sign, and then enter. Now what you have observed? You have observed that next I want to calculate the exact last day of the year, which is the year following 2024. But over here, what you are going to observe, it is 31st December, but the year is 1900. Why I am getting 1900? The reason is, you can see over here, whenever you are putting the shift sign and then the arrow, or you can say I am just copying and pasting the formula to the next cell, what it is doing, it is taking the previous cell, that means 0 as a date. But right now 0 is not a date. Why it has done over here? Because I have not linked this cell with the 0 written over here. And second thing, I have not static this date. I have not fixed this date. Now what I am going to do, I am going to press F4. So now what I am saying, I want current date, I want the end of the year of the current year, then next year, then next to next year, that means 3 years ahead, 4 years ahead, 5 years ahead, and 6 years ahead. And instead of writing 0 over here, I am going to link it. And now press enter. Now what I have done, I have put this date as a static. That means this date should not move. Now see, again I am going to copy it, press shift, arrow sign and enter. Now what you are going to observe over here is 31st December 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. Now you can see this date is fixed over here. Now this is your date and I want the last day of the year which is following the current year. So 1 year ahead. Next I want 2 years ahead. Now suppose you don't want 31st December. Let's say I want 31st March. So in that case I am going to use date and then year. Now again I am going to choose this particular year and I want to fix it. So I'll press F4. Once I have pressed F4, you will put a bracket and you will say, now I will link this, that is I want the current year end of the date, comma, now I want the financial year and the last month of financial year is March. So I'm going to write 3, 31 and enter. Now what you can see, the current year financial date is your 31st March 2024 because I am saying that you have to calculate the 31st March of 2024. It has calculated. Now again copy it, shift, arrow sign and enter. Now you can see the end of the year date of the next month, so on. So this is how we are going to calculate the end of the year date. Now next concept that I am going to do is year fraction. Now year fraction, as I told you, if I have to calculate the interest, so for how much time period I have to pay the interest. So that means year fraction means the difference between two dates. So I'm going to use the year frac command, and I want the difference between this date, comma, this date, and enter. Now it means 0.27 years. I have to pay the interest for 0.27 years. Again, copy, shift, and enter. Now again, you will see what you will observe that if I am taking this, and it has taken these two dates, but 0 is not a date. The reason is I have not fixed it. So this won't work. So what you have to do, whenever we are calculating the first date, I'll fix this date, I'll put the $sign and then enter. Now again Control C, Shift, arrow sign, and then enter. Now you can see 31st December 2025 is 1.27 years. 31st December 2026 is 2.27 years, and so on. Now again, year frac command, we can use it in this way also. Suppose these are the dates, and what I want to do, I want to calculate, let's say today's date is 30th of September 2024, and I want the exact time period between these two dates. So again, year frac and your start date, comma, your end date, and enter. So it says that from 23rd of June 2020 till 30th of September 2024, it is 4.26 years. So I have to pay if I have taken a loan on these dates, and I'm going to pay the loan on 30th of September 2024. So I have to pay the interest for 4.26 years. Now in this, see, you can see I have not fixed the date. The reason is my dates are variable. So in that case, I can't fix. But over here, I have to fix the date because I want this date and difference between from 23rd September till 31st December 24, 31st December 25, and so on. So what I am going to do, I am going to drag it, and your answer is this. Now again you will observe that over here it's the difference between 30th of September and 23rd of June is 4.26 years, but between the 30th of March 2021 and 30th of September, the difference is not for 121 years. So again, what the mistake I have done, in this case, this date is fixed, so I have to fix this date. So now I'll put the $sign and enter, and I'll drag it. Now you can observe this. Now another method, if I want to calculate, this is my today's date. Now I don't want to write the date. So what I can write year frac. I can choose this date, comma, I can write today. And bracket close. Now again you can see the same answer, and I am going to drag it, and you are going to write the same answer. That means if you want to see the difference between some previous date and today's date, so you don't have to mention the date, you can just write the command today and your answer will be there. So in this way we are going to use the command for e-date, end of the month date, end of the year date, and year fraction. Hope you have able to understand all these concepts. So I'll be coming again with some new concepts in the next lecture. Thank you.